Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for the Cuckoo's Fiancee, or A Couple of Cuckoos, chapter 127. When we last left our heroes, we had a few chapters just with people reacting to the Nagi Hiro dating in various ways. Erika, after Hiro thanked her and apologized to her for getting together with Nagi, Erika was left wondering why she was apologized to, and realized that, you know, in her fear that I think Erika reads it as she's losing two friends at the same time. Hiro, I think, meant it as you like Nagi and I'm dating him. But those are I think kind of in some ways connected, those two views. But you know, Erika, in typical Erika fashion, to slowly work out her feelings there. There was a Sachi chapter we're not talking about. And then an awkward date with Nagi and Hiro after Hiro rejected his initial date idea thanks to Sachi being an ass. And, you know, it was just like Nagi needed to talk to her, and that's... he needs to, actually listen to her and not be convinced on this, perfect date thing, which isn't really what the chapter ended up focusing on, with the whole Hiro calling herself lame for being caught up in something. It also just didn't, it felt like her frustration was about the Sachi thing, but we just didn't really circle back to that. I don't know, it mostly worked in the end, but it is a little weird to try to, put into words what was going on character-wise there. But there's a nice callback to their, initial conversation in the rain way back in, chapter, in the teens, I think, about that, can you change destiny? And that time it is stop raining, here it has, symbolizing on some level that maybe destiny is beginning to change. So let's dive right on into the 127th vowel, I'm the princess. We continue on with, the repeating shirt motif with I here. Interestingly, though, the picture does not, go low enough to see that the image of I here repeats, which is interesting. But okay. Nagi comes back from his date with Hiro. Now Erika looks like she has something planned. And we open with the same sort of narrator line from last week. Destiny has begun to change. And Nagi calls out, I'm back. And it's still the day of the date. He's come back from the date. Still dressed up in that very Papa Yohei shirt. And that was a satisfying date in a way. And Erika, on her phone, mutters, welcome back. Yeah. And we see she's been on the phone with Soichiro. As the narrator says, or at least it should have. And Erika asks, hey, Nagi-kun, what? Do you have a passport? Oh, what are you doing, Erika? My initial reading is that this would be an I-focused chapter due to the cover. And how 124 was an Erika-focused chapter, 125 was a Sachi-focused chapter, 126 was a Hiro chapter. But this seems to be more, given the blurb as well, this seems sort of more Erika-focused. And that, she is dealing with her feelings in a less than healthy way. This feels like it could be tied into her feelings from 124. That she's worried about losing Nagi and Hiro, and maybe she's gonna, yeet Nagi somewhere so they can have some, friend time. I don't know. But all of a sudden, they're on a jet. And Nagi just reacts, a private jet? We can discuss the morality of private jets later. I don't think that's what Yoshikawa was going for here. Yep, that's how Daddy always does this. Says it's the fastest way. So, actually, I can get into the ethics here, because it's all about Soichiro being an asshole. Because Soichiro, his defining trait is being confusing and an asshole. And contributing to climate change with overuse of a private jet is an asshole move. Anyway, Erika goes on, says it's the fastest way. I'll bet. Nagi just, internally, rich people are just on a different level, as usual. And Erika sort of laughs, so I guess you don't need a passport to go to Okinawa. Yeah, I don't think you would. Exactly. Okinawa was returned to Japanese control in 1972. Okay, I didn't know that bit of... I guess it was... I don't know, Did the U.S. sort of take control over it after the war until 72? I don't know anything about Okinawa history, so I'm just sort of spitballing here. Not important, though. That's not what I meant. It's just that we're in a hurry. I mean, just out of nowhere, Daddy told us to get over there. It's gonna be... So, it's a full-on Soichiro chapter. Which means it's gonna be as confusing as it always is. Hopefully, it's a little clearer than the last Soichiro chapter. I don't know. But Nagi just mutters, yeah... That's just the kind of person he is. It's already happened a bunch of times before. There'd be some party that Daddy has to go to, and I'd have to go in his stead. And he reacts, another party this week? Yep, for the opening soiree of a new hotel. What? Was she at This isn't the same week as the ferry, is it? There's no way. They spent a good deal of time studying. Because I don't know what that another party this week would refer to, because there haven't been any parties recently. Not since they were on... I don't think the ferry was a party. It was just a fancy ferry. And that might just be weird translation things. There's, gonna be weird translation things with Cuckoo went. I've just sort of accepted that. But Erika sighs. He wants me to entertain the guests there. So I told him that it'd be fine if I just went alone, but no. For some reason, he wants you too. Is it because I'm your fiancé, and at the same time, his son too? Which, the fiancé thing is very obvious if that's public information. Which I'm not quite sure it is, as Erika is fairly famous, and none of the kids at school know that. But Erika just comments, "Oh, so you actually have self-awareness? Come on." And as Nagi just sort of, pouts, Erika asks him, so about Hiro-chan, how was it? Huh? Your date? Oh. It was fun. Yeah. I mean, I guess in the end it was fun, but also, there was a lot of pain for him in the middle there. I see. Good for you. He just leaves it at that. There's this awkward tension between them. As neither of them can really, look at each other. Erika's still dealing with her feelings in 124, and, talking about your girlfriend to your fiancé is not a comfortable situation, I can imagine. And Erika then changes the subject. Come to think of it, is this your first time on a plane? Aren't you scared? Scared? As if. Airplanes and cars are vehicles all the same, right? By the way, Japan Shinkansen is the safest vehicle in the world, has nothing to do with this, Nagi. And just then, the seatbelt light turns on, and Erika, calmly buckles her seatbelt, and Nagi panics. We're going to crash! Calm down and put your seatbelt on, alright? We're landing. And then they've arrived in Okinawa at this fancy-ass resort that Soichiro is running. Is this a brand new hotel? This is way too high class. Aren't we basically in the tropics now? And someone approaches them, it's going to be Soichiro. Welcome to Amano Resort, Okinawa. Oh no, it's all of the staff. At your service, ma'am. And it's just a whole, 20 people to greet the two of them. Nagi just panics. What? Who are these people? They're just the people who help out around here. And she's very polite to them. I apologize for arriving late. My name is Erika. As my father is currently occupied with work, I have come to attend on his behalf. And the sort of, not owner, but the manager. The owner, of course, would be Soichiro. The manager tells her, I am but the humble manager of this fine hotel. And Nagi is just sort of shocked he's sort of stunned by, I don't know if it's just Erika being polite or just the formalities of upper class life or something. He's just, what? And then this person does not look like a staff member. She looks like a full-on, party guest. Erika-chan, how have you been? And her partner, we've been watching you on Insta. Thank you so much. I'm doing great, thanks. And I think Nagi's getting increasingly stunned at, Erika with good manners. Huh? Hi, Erika. Nice to meet you. Oh, I think this line might be in English. Hi, Mary. Nice to meet you, too. And Nagi's just increasingly flabbergasted. Huh? And, I don't think that was a language thing. It might have just been a font change. But still, we're seeing Nagi is suddenly seeing Erika as this heiress, not the sort of goofball he lives with who's sort of clueless about the ways of the world, but he's now in a world where Erika is not clueless. this is, how Erika was raised, which is forcing him to recalibrate how he views her. I don't know this world at all. Could it be that I was reincarnated in another world on the plane ride just now? And Erika looks over and sees Nagi looking all awkward. Nagi-kun, over here. The party's about to start. Okay. And they're in a private room here with a couple of maids are around, but the maids are not really listening in, I don't think. As Erika questions, first time seeing this kind of thing? It's only natural you wouldn't understand what's going on. And Nagi is just, it feels like I've been taken to a ball at a noble's castle, and I'm just a local village boy. Oh, what now? Why are you sitting on the floor? Also, yeah, Nagi's just in a ball on the floor, while Erika is resting on the couch. And Nagi can't even look at her. It's just that you've been talking to grown-ups in suits and party people, and even making conversation in English. What did I say? It was English, I was right. Grown-ups and party people are people too. And as for English, I was just going with stock phrases. And Nagi's taken aback at how casually she admits to that, just going with it. Actually, Nagi-kun, I'm changing here. So could you get out? They just start undressing her before he leaves. I figured the maids would ask him first, but okay. Ah! And he runs out of the room as Erika gets on to him. Sheesh, you just have no tact, do you? How am I supposed to know if you don't tell me? Which, yeah, that's a fair point. That one's on Erika. Feel free to look around over there. You're just going to abandon me? It suddenly just hit me that, they specifically said Soichiro wasn't here. So it will not really be a Soichiro chapter. I don't know why I still, after that, just realized this is not going to be a confusing, convoluted Soichiro chapter. But anyway, I don't know, that just suddenly hit me like a brick. He's reading through, the resort brochure. Once again, I find myself at an unbelievable hotel. And because he's so underdressed, all of the people are sort of judging him. Is that kid here to interview for a part-time job? Maybe he's one of the local kids? Nagi just thinks, yeah, I am definitely way out of my league here. This hotel is completely his, too. With the image, of course, of Soichiro. Okay, first of all, why did he summon me here, too? Am I supposed to entertain the guests with Amano-san? Could I even? Which, it ties into the it feels like we sort of haven't really brought up anything that happened on the ferry since then. Beyond if the translation was going for a sort of reset of Nagi and Erika's relationship, then their relationship has kind of been reset. But he Soichiro did mention at the time that, he sort of was considering Nagi as a successor, as, Nagi needed to be trained to take over the Amano business, which Nagi did not want, but that would be a somewhat logical reasoning for Soichiro's actions here. As much as trying to apply reason to Soichiro Amano is a tall order, to put it mildly, that could be what he's going for here. I don't know. Could I even? And then we hear, an announcement thing or something. I don't know what that zing noise is meant to be. It doesn't sound like a door opening, but I have no idea what zing is meant to be. But it's, it's setting up Erika walking down these giant steps in whatever fancy dress she's wearing, as all the people react, oh, my, she's incredible. And Nagi watches thinking, once again I found myself thinking that Amano-san was a well-to-do young lady, and that we live in completely different worlds. And we see, she's in this sort of, sweetheart neckline dress, flowing, her hair is down with these, flower designs going on in it. It's she's at the ball. It's her Cinderella moment, to put it simply. And she looks down at Nagi, and Nagi turns away, not really able to look at her. As people all crowd around her, nothing short of beautiful. Could I have a picture, please? And Nagi just thinks to himself, overwhelmed before I even knew it. I'd completely forgotten, but Amano-san had always been living in this world. Which, yeah, it seems like a lot of the points of this chapter is a reminder that this is where Erika came from. it's not really where she is now, living with Nagi and Sachi, but this is still, like, a lifestyle she knows. And then Erika calls out to him, "What are you doing, Nagi-kun? It's your turn to get changed next." Really? And everyone's watching this interaction, realizing that, you know, kid looking for a part-time job is friends with the heiress. But Nagi sort of laughs, "Man, I can't stop thinking how incredible this world is." "Exactly." And she holds out her hand. "I'm the princess of this castle. And you, the peasant boy, are the princess's fiancé, aren't you?" She holds out her hand to him. "It was just as if I was in a dream. Next time, a troublesome party begins." So, it took her a little bit, but Erika did eventually realize the metaphor Nagi was going for earlier. But yeah, I don't know. I'm mostly thinking about the kind of tension on the plane as to where I think this arc is going, because I feel like that tension has to break. You know, specifically given that I feel like everything right now is sort of influenced through that lens of Nagi and Hiro dating. The fact that that Erika ends the chapter with this bold declaration, you know, "I'm the princess and you are the princess's fiancé." It feels like, you know, it's her staking her claim. And because it's Erika, I'm still never quite sure if she's fully aware of what she's doing, because I thought she was aware of her feelings before, and she was not. And this arc has, again, made the really, really good epilogue to the M1 arc really weird in retrospect. So it's still very unclear anything going on with Erika, because everything is weird with her right now. But given the exact state of her feelings in 124, I'm a little unsure if she sees this as, you know, her staking her claim against Hiro to Nagi. As uncomfortable a metaphor as that is, that feels like what she's going for here. Like, she's worked through her feelings enough by now that, like, you know, she's aware of the romantic nature of that apology. Though I might be reading too much into it. I have done that in the past. I don't know. All in all, there's a lot of fun to be had here. A lot of, you know, there's a good bit of, like, fish out of water comedy. The sort of Nagi just does not understand. And I wish we sort of spent a little bit more time with that. Like, I like the bit we get. But a lot of it is Nagi sort of being ignored and acknowledging that. If there had been a couple more interactions of, like, oh, Nagi is trying to, like, interact with people here, and he's failing because he's some poor kid from the city. I mean, maybe this is not really Yoshikawa's point. If her point is to set up, you know, that final line, "You are the princess's fiancé," as this sort of reminder, backhandedly, of the complication of Nagi's relationship status right now. Like, if that's the point, then it makes sense that, like, we don't spend a lot of time focusing on Nagi's fish out of waterness. Because all we really get is Nagi watching Erika, and then that one panel on 14 and everyone saying, "Who is that kid?" And, like, it feels like there's a lot more there, but also we might get more of that now that, like, she has made that bold declaration. You know, it's called a troublesome party, and word is going to get around that Nagi was here. We've already set up, people are taking pictures of the party, taking pictures with Erika, but, like, also just in general, there are going to be pictures online about, you know, Erika Amano's mysterious fiancé, that will also impact the relationship with Hiro. I feel like that's maybe where Yoshikawa is going with all this. And I think Erika is on some level aware of it. Aware of, like, is actively gunning for that to happen. But also I think it will happen regardless of if Erika knows that. So we'll see. I'm actually, like, I'm considering if I like more Erika actively, you know, as she's like a child, sort of lashing out at Hiro, or her just genuinely doing what her dad says, and then, no, I got more pieces. I just remembered Soichiro's role in all this. It's not Erika plotting, but it is Soichiro. I feel like Erika might have mentioned Nagi dating Hiro to Soichiro, and Soichiro is doing this to put a stop to that. That's my theory for what's really going on here. Is that Erika might also be a little bitter, going back to her sort of tension on the plane. She might be a little unhappy with Hiro. This may be intentional on Erika's part. It's definitely intentional on Soichiro's. This is all to, like, break up Nagi and Hiro, for whatever his endgame is, because he always seems to have some kind of fucking plan. I don't know what that plan might be, but he has a plan. But yeah, for now, Nagi is publicly announced as Erika's fiance, and even before that, we're seeing just sort of shock and confusion at her calling out to Nagi at all. Especially, like, the contrast of Nagi in his, like, t-shirt and sweats, and Erika in this gorgeous gown. And now he's publicly been announced, consciously or not, as Erika's... If Erika is, like, whether or not Erika is taking the people into account or not, which she probably is, given how much this chapter focuses on how much Erika, like, knows the rules of this world, how much it establishes she knows what she's doing in this situation. I keep waffling back and forth on whether or not I think Erika is conscious of her goals here, but the more I think about it, the more I think she kind of is. Given how much this chapter focuses on Erika knowing the rules of the road here, how the world of the rich and powerful work, it definitely feels like she's trying to achieve something with every single move she does. And specifically, my best guess is that she's, at the very least, okay with Soichiro's plan to break up Nagi and Hiro. That's my theory for what's going on here. Now, will that work? How will the events of this party unfold? That all remains to be seen, but we'll find that out in weeks to come. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!